You can be great at what you do, know your offer inside out, and still lose the deal because of a few everyday phrases you didn't even realize were costing you sales. They sound polite, even professional, but they're quietly hand-controlled to your buyer and stall the whole process. The beauty of this is, it's ridiculously easy to fix, and you can swap them out today in conversations you're already having. Replace them with the authority switch and the invisible close, phrases from the Persuasion matrix, and you'll feel the shift immediately. You'll start guiding the conversation from the very first word without ever sounding pushy. Buyers will respond faster, and you go from waiting on them to them waiting on you. So let's go through some real-world swaps you can start using right away. If you're wrapping up a sales conversation, never say the dreaded, "Let me know what you think." This passive approach isn't great because it leaves the control in their hands and kills your momentum. Instead, try this. Once you've had a chance to have a look, I'll give you a quick call and walk you through the next steps. Make sure nothing feels unclear. This works great because it uses the invisible close. You set the expectation for the next step so it's natural, not pushy. They're ready for your call instead of treating it like an interruption. Another common mistake is when they start talking price too early and you say, "I can work within your budget." This makes you sound like you're negotiating before they've even seen your value, and that puts you straight away in the weaker position. Next time, say this: "Let's make sure we get the results you want first, then we'll review the numbers to make sure it all fits." This is so much better because it uses the authority switch. You focus on value first, price second, and you're compared on trust and results and not cost. Another deal killer is when you kill urgency by saying, "Take your time, no rush." This big mistake unintentionally tells them the decision isn't important, so it slips right to the bottom of their list. Instead, simply say this: "If timing's tight, we can hold a spot for a few days if that helps." This is so much more powerful because it uses a decision anchor. You keep it friendly, but introduce a deadline that turns maybe later into "let's decide now." Another common mistake is failing to lead the conversation effectively. You might say, "It's up to you." You might think this sounds polite, but it leaves them to figure out what the next step is on their own, and most won't ever decide anything at all. Instead, simply say, "If this feels like a fit, I'll map out what getting started next week would actually look like." This works far better because it's a momentum bridge. You keep them moving forward while making it feel completely collaborative. Another common glitch in a sales conversation is when you're near the end of your pitch and you know your customer is hesitating, and you ask the dreaded, "Any questions?" It sounds okay, but this puts the burden on your customer to ask, and they might hold back instead of voicing any concerns. Instead, if you sense them hesitating, simply say, "Most people pause here. Let's have a look at what a rollout looks like so it's much easier to picture." This is so much better because it uses the objection fusion code. You're predicting the objection, the uncertainty. Here, you normalize the hesitation and remove it by showing a clear path forward for your customer. And finally, another deal killer is when you try too hard to please your customer and you say something like, "We can do whatever you want." This makes you sound like you're following rather than leading, which doesn't actually make them trust you more. Instead, try this next time. Here's the usual plan that works best, and after that, we'll tailor it to your particular needs. This works so much better because you combine the status trigger with authority. You lead first, then customize so they trust that you're the expert. These 6 quick, easy swaps I've just shown are quick to remember and slot straight into conversations you're already having. They're straight from the Persuasion matrix, and when you use them, you won't just see deals moving forward faster, you'll become the clear, trusted choice before they've even considered anyone else. And the best part, anyone can do this, and the ones who do always win more business.